Okay, so let's make models and import them into Unity, and then also use some Unity assets to bring back into Maya for the medieval house project. First I want to go into my projects, and just to organize things, go and create a medieval house project folder, and then within here I'm going to make a Maya folder. I'm going to throw some reference images in there, which include some brick as well as the house and some roof tiles. I'm going to go back into Maya. I'm going to go create some shapes. I'll use F to find them, and I'll move that one a little bit out of the way. For the first one, I'm going to do a right click and assign a new material. It has to be a Maya material in order to import into Unity. Unity doesn't handle mental ray objects very well, or materials. So when I've assigned a new one, I'm just going to double click onto the color and change it to a different color. From here, I'll right click on my pyramid and I'll assign it a new material, a Lambert, and I want to change the actual texture of it, so I'm going to go into the texture and have it read a file. I'm going to locate my project, medieval house project, Maya reference images, and I'm just going to use this roof tiles texture. So it doesn't show up right away. That's because I'm in the wrong mode. I hit 6 and that'll pop up. I have a little bit of stretching going on, so I'm going to go into Window, UV Texture Editor, right click, UVs, and I'm just going to increase their scale. From here I want to export them as FBX. First off, we want to make sure that the FBX is working, so we go into Window, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager, scroll all the way to the bottom, and here FBX Maya Bundle, those should both be checked. From here I can go to File, Export All, and I'll click the option box. I'll make sure that it's FBX, and I'll export them. From here I'll reset everything, so I'll go to the Media and Entertainment preset. I'm going to make sure that it triangulates everything. I'm going to turn animations off, so it won't be importing any of that information because we don't have any animation. Same with camera and lights. But we do want to embed media, and that'll just make sure that all of the materials and textures are getting exported with the mesh. From here I'll navigate back to my project. Test, and I'll export that. I've noticed that when exporting textures that Unity sometimes has a problem importing them and will crash. So we'll see if that actually happens. I'm going to create a new project in Unity, and I'll call it Unity Medieval House. I want to change this location of where it's saving, so I'm going to go to my project, to the Medieval House project, and I'm just going to save that. It's going to create a new folder, so when we go in it'll be Maya as well as the Unity Medieval House. So here we have a similar setup to Maya. We have the actual window where we can navigate in the same fashion that you do with Maya. We have our hierarchy, which are the elements that are within the scene, and that's a lot like your orthographic view. And then we have the assets down here, and these are all the assets you can draw from to bring into the hierarchy. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this Scenes, and I'm going to go to File, Save Project, or Save Scene, and We can go back, see medieval house, we see the Unity project that we named and made. Go into assets, and here's the scenes folder that we just made. And we'll just call it test for now. I'm also going to create a folder. I'll just call it Mills Models. And here we'll see whether it'll crash. It'll probably crash. Okay, so I'm going to try another way around it. I noticed that when I import packages and into the characters, I imported that. You also see down here a default asset was created because the asset importer crashed on the last time, so we have to go back into the Mills models and delete all the stuff that was kind of created. The standard assets, we have our character, we have our third person character, and we're going to go into prefabs and grab this third person controller and just drag it into the hierarchy. You can also drag them into the scene, but this kind of places them automatically, and I'll just make its origin 0 tab 0 tab 0. I'm going to go to game object and 3D object and create a plane. I'll also 0 that out, 0 tab 0 tab 0. And then I'm going to save the scene. Alright, now we're going to go back to the Mills Models folder, and I'm going to import the asset again. So it seemed to work that time. So I can take the actual test and I can drag it into scene. I can make sure that its position is zeroed out, and you can't see it initially. That's because it's so small, so I'm going to hit F to find it, and here the two are. If we zoom in, we can see that that one actually has the texture. Also notice how sort of detailed this character is with all his ridges. We're going to bring him into Maya and you'll see the difference, and all this detail is added with normal maps, which allows a model to have a lot of detail without the extra information that comes with polygons, and I'll just show you. So from here we can save the scene, and we'll go back into Maya. Now, one of the reasons that we had to import him was to break him out of the sort of ethereal space of Unity and give him a sort of a physical manifestation within this folder that we can then draw from. So I'm going to go back into Maya, and I'll go File, Import. I'll locate my projects folder, but this time instead of going into Maya, I want to go into the Unity project folder, into the Assets folder, into the Standard Assets, Characters, Third Person Character, and before we brought him in with a prefab, but we just want to reference the model. So here we have models and then Ethan, and you'll notice his scale. You also notice that he's lost all of that detail, and that's because he has no normals, no normal map or bump map on him anymore. So this is what he actually looks like, and all of this is just sort of fake So once you have them in here, then you can start to see the scale difference and the scale that your house should be. From here, I'm going to bring in some image planes. So I want to make sure that I'm not in perspective view. I want to be in the front view. And I'm going to go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. I'm going to locate my actual image reference. And I can start scaling it up. Now I want to use this house as the reference, so I actually don't really need to move the origin of the image plane, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to translate, hitting D and holding D, and then I'm just, oops, hitting D, holding D, and just sliding it so that it's going to be right by the door, because that's the main reference I'm going to compare him to. Go back into, I'm holding space and then doing a left click and then going into the front view. From here, I'm just going to keep on scaling up. So that seems about right. So now I can start actually modeling the house at a scale that will import into Unity